high intensity interval training. If you go onto YouTube and you type in HIIT, you'll see hundreds of videos on different types of workouts. I'm going to give you my two favorite high intensity interval training workouts. The Basically any type of high intensity work that you're doing that spikes your heart rate, where you're going at a maximum intensity or really close to a maximum intensity, and you are spiking your heart rate up to almost max rates for a period of time, and then you bring it back down again. That is effective, and you go back to a resting pace. That is effectively high intensity interval training. Okay. Now, one that I like, there's two types of training that I like to do for high intensity stuff. Actually, we'll throw three in there. Sprinting is probably the most important. So just going on your treadmill, let's say, or outside, and you run at a conversational, nice, low pace, even less than maybe your zone 2 pace or your recovery pace, and you're going to sprint for, let's say, 30 seconds, and then you're going to go back to that conversational pace again, and then sprint again. Maybe you do every 2 minutes, sprint for 30 seconds or something to that effect. Do that for 15 to 20 minutes. That's an amazing workout, and it's really good for your heart. And just one thing with sprinting and anything like that's high intensity, there's always drawbacks to that type of training. One thing with sprinting is most people, when you get to a certain age especially, you don't sprint anymore. And you can't just chase after somebody after you haven't sprinted for 15 years and expect to not blow out a hamstring or something. You want to warm up properly, and you want to understand that there is a little bit of risk to this type of training, but there's huge rewards to it. So I don't think that you should avoid risky training necessarily, but you need to understand the risks and understand how you can recover from it, because it's not what you can do, it's what you can recover from. So the other type that I like besides sprinting, and you could do that with anything. You could do that with a bike, you could do that with an assault bike, you could do it with any type of equipment. One thing that I like to do a lot excuse me, is one thing I like to do a lot is burpees. I've always been a big fan of burpees. I've done, I don't know how many I've done exactly, but I've done a lot of them, and I'm a big fan. I'm not going to get into the style of burpees. I will discuss that on another video of the type of burpees that I like to do and why, and I will really go through the ins and outs of why I like that style, as opposed to the kind of the CrossFit sloppy soup sandwich style that I tend to disagree with. No offense to anybody at CrossFit. But burpees are a great way to get winded, and they're a great way to kind of hold that really intense heart rate and hold it for a long time. And one way that you can do that is pick a certain amount of time. I like the 3-minute drill. So what you're doing is you do 3 minutes at you're going to do as many 6-count burpees as you can in 3 minutes. When that 3 minutes is up, you can take, say, 30 seconds rest and then hit it again, and you're going to try to get that same number again. And you can do that 3 or 4 times. That is an absolute smoker of a workout. If you want to push to the max, what you're looking to do is sustain that pretty fast working pace for 12 minutes. That's called the 12-minute drill. That's next level stuff. Shout out to the Iron Wolf on that one. That one is that's next level. That's wild stuff. Do 3 rounds of the 12-minute drill, and you don't even want to. That's probably one of the most hated workouts for me, is that, of all the programming that I've done over the years. Sorry, somebody almost jetted out in front of me. It's amazing when you commute how many times a day you almost die from people almost hitting you, and it just rolls off your back because you do this every day. You drive an hour and a half every day. You almost become numb to it. People veering into my lane when they're oncoming because they have to send out that last minute email or whatever to work. Anyways, off on a tangent. Burpees are an amazing tool. Again, there are drawbacks to them. They're not the ultimate exercise for building muscle. They're not the ultimate exercise for cardio, but they do kind of hit this weird in between that's kind of hard to get from other stuff. And they are great for making you tired, and they're great for something that just sucks. Sometimes you just got to do something that just sucks. So Burpees are great for that. The other one that I liked a lot is very similar, but it is using body weight exercises, and you're going to do them in short. Again, just another shout out to the Iron Wolf. Give credit where credit's due. When you do an exercise, like let's say you're going to do sets of 10 push-ups doesn't get you gassed. It doesn't gas your muscles out. But when you do 10 push-ups, 10 squats, 10 sit-ups, 10 burpees, and then you repeat that over and over and over again, your system starts to get fatigued. You're not sure exactly where the fatigue is coming from. Is it my shoulders? Is it my abs? Is it my back? Is it my lungs? I don't know. I'm not sure, but I know I'm getting tired. And I like that for high intensity interval training. Just pick 3 or 4 exercises, do 10 reps for each, and just repeat. Hit as many rounds as you can in a certain amount of time. That's a great time saver workout. Again, there's risks to things when you're doing things quickly. There's a little bit of maybe some stress on the joints. Burpees being ballistic, you're falling down. You have some trauma to your elbows, trauma to your wrists, and so on. And don't stay away from them. They should be a part of your program, but understand that there are risks to it. The predominant aspect of your training should be the safe stuff, especially if you're involved in a sport like I am with jiu-jitsu, where your training is already going to be very intense and risky to your joints, ligaments, ego, whatever. But you want to make sure that you mitigate those risks. I'm not saying don't do it, right? I'm not saying that you should never do things like heavy deadlifting or whatever. I'm not saying that. But understand that there are drawbacks to it, and that it's not something that is without risk. I'll do another video for the high intensity strength and hypertrophy training, which I think is the most important thing that people should focus on. And then your secondary stuff is your low intensity cardio and your high intensity interval cardio. But I want to do a video on the high intensity interval cardio because I think it's important. It's very important for us not even as we age, but to spike your heart rate. You want to spike your heart rate to a pretty max heart rate, quite a few times a week. Some people who already are involved in a sport where you're spiking your heart rate all the time anyways, they don't need to necessarily incorporate too much extra of that, if any at all. But if all you do is work out, you don't have a sport that you're involved in, then spiking your heart rate once a week at the very least is probably a really, really, really good thing for you. It's definitely a good thing for you physically, and it's probably going to be something that's good for you mentally. Understanding that it's there. That if I had to get out of this car and chase somebody down or run away from somebody, I would feel confident that I would do that without hurting something, because I sprint, often enough. So high intensity interval training. I'll give lots of other examples on my page. I'm gonna put out some videos on what those look like, those workouts. I'll put some full routines up there. You guys can see me get smoked. And sprinting. That can be sprinting sprinting with your legs, or that could be swimming sprinting, or on your bike, or it could be an assault bike, or whatever, battle ropes, anything you want. You could do it with any type of activity, really, as long as you can go at a really intense pace for a short amount of time and then rest, and then a really intense pace for a short amount of time and then rest again, and repeat that a few times. You don't have to do a long workout to get smoked in that way. Okay? High intensity interval training.